Okay, good morning, everyone. It is April 14th. This is the Broadwater County Commission meeting. If you'd all join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning again. We'll take care of just a little bit of housekeeping and then get started with the meeting. Broadwater County Public Meeting Policy follows Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to open Broadwater County public meetings to a wider range of citizens. We realize we have a fiscal and fiduciary responsibility to conduct county business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County citizens. Commission meetings are recorded and are on YouTube, so please state your full name for the record prior to the meeting, or prior to your comment. Any separate conversations need to be removed from the meeting and conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment will be prior to the meeting, and each citizen who wishes to speak will be given 3 minutes. Citizens who wish to weigh in on the agenda may do so during public comment or prior to the meeting with the commissioner. And any items of significant public interest will take public comment. All comments will be directed to the board chair or presiding officer. So with that, we'll start with public comment. Is there any public comment? John?
My name is John Wright. I object to your entry of how you're running this county. Instead of running it as a public servant, you're running it as a tyrannical tyrant, using laws that are not usable in this county, a state statutory procedure that is not tolerable in a county constitutional form of government. And for every time you say, you just swore to God to uphold the Constitution, and then you broke it to hell. You should pay attention, and you should step down. Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? Bill?
Bill Kearns. I just wanted to say I was very impressed with the gentleman's remarks of last Wednesday. I think that idea should really get careful consideration of the commissioners. To have somebody that will step up and help you with personnel matters and the county, other than if his qualifications aren't what you want, is a great idea. So I thought it was worth listening to. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Public comment? Public comment. All right, it is not on the agenda, but we've been doing the Montana Minute, which was started with another board in the state and has been kind of catching fire. And what we do is just 1 minute of positive comment about Montana or Broadwater County. So any Montana minutes?
I just have to say, I appreciate the fact that we have 4 different seasons here in Montana. I would like it to be 70 all the time, but that isn't possible. So I like the fact that we have different seasons.
Excellent, I agree. Franklin, Montana Minute?
No, I don't have any.
All right, I have a really short one, and it kind of piggybacks off Elaine's. Green, mountains are turning green. Meadowlark, or the first meadowlark last week, and the sand cranes are back. So, welcome spring. It's been a long time coming.
You know, we're lucky to live where we do. I can't imagine looking up and seeing skyscrapers all the time. I mean, I've had moose right in my yard, and I only live 6 miles out, so
You can't beat that.
no, you can't.
All right, it is 6 after 10. First thing we have is the minutes. And these were emailed out on Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday, I think.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes at 4/7/14.
second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of April 7, 2014. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Ann. All right, first we have, this was emailed to all of us, but I decided to print it just to make sure that we all saw it. This is the initial damage assessment survey conducted by DES on the flooding.
There's no place to sign, so do we need a motion?
No, I just wanted to make sure you guys saw it. Next, we have just a memo, and again, just to make sure that everybody saw it. And this is discussing the insurance premium for health insurance for employees. And there's a copy for each of you. Here is another memo that I just wanted to make sure everybody had eyes on. This memo, this subject hasn't come to our meeting, so I will just read it real briefly. This memo is to remind everyone that time cards are due by 5 p.m. of their respective due dates, which are the 9th and 24th of the month. Unless those dates fall on the weekend, then they are due the next working day, effective immediately. If the time cards are not turned in, they will not get processed until the next scheduled pay period. I've become more flexible in the past, but more and more time cards are being turned in late due to my flexibility. This has caused me to rush and meet the bank deadlines, which is forcing me to be less flexible. The hours listed on the time cards are the most important part, so if you're simply waiting on a signature, the signature can be obtained later. Please contact me if you have questions or concerns. This was sent out by Debbie Kelly, our payroll clerk, and it's just because time cards are an issue of procrastination. So I thought it was important to bring that forward so that any employees are doubly aware that they need to get that done.
It's only fair and proper that they be treated like
Absolutely, we're all adults here.
They wouldn't like it if the check came late.
Nope. Next we have a claim that I think we should turn into the insurance. It's for $1,191.80. And this is for a roof, one of the roofs coming off of the courthouse in the back. During the flooding, it flooded pretty badly, and the hallway next to the commissioner's office was completely flooded with water. About 3 inches of standing water, and the stairwell coming down into the basement. Mike
So
has,
this is a roof?
yeah. Mike has done the repairs, replaced it, and taken pictures. But that was the cost of materials and the necessities to fix it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is that area where it was leaking, is that under the area that was just repaired? Or part of that same area?
It was repaired after it was, after it
And
leaked.
we had the new roof just recently put on?
On that small portion,
Okay.
not upstairs.
Okay, this is separate from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I suspect with all the snow that we had just the week before the flooding.
That's exactly what happened. Yep.
Do you want a motion?
I don't know that we need a motion, I just wanted board, I guess, to concur with sending that to the insurance company.
Also move.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what our deductible is. Deductible might be more than what that is, but we'll have to send it in anyway.
There's one way to find out. huh?
That's right.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and proceed with sending this claim to the insurance company. All of those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, next we have a letter that was delivered this morning by Cheryl Campbell. This was delivered to our office, there's one for each of you. And it states attached, it was delivered there and also up here, which is why I'm reading it in the mail. Attached is a copy of a report I received in response to a request about a year ago I would like to have an update of the same report reflecting the department activity, description of request, requested amount, amount spent, transferred, unspent amount, and notes including balances beginning March 29, 2013, and ending today at your convenience. Please call 266-3716 to advise when this report can be picked up. Thank you.
This is just on Phil. It appears.
Well, the report in the back is just on Pilk, but the request on the front, of course, is for quite a bit more information.
All I really wanted was just like that Pilt account, just the Pilt.
It may not look the same, but we can get you the same information.
Okay.
And we have 1 minute till Brian, so I think what we'll do, instead of addressing the last piece of mail, is just call Brian up. Brian Holmes, Solid Waste Monthly Update.
Morning, Brian.
Solid Waste has had a busy month. We've had a lot of equipment repairs, had a in-frame rebuild on our loader, an in-frame rebuild on our excavator, and everything else is running okay. But other than that, we've just been doing a little spring cleanup, getting things picked up after the winter, dealing with the wind. It's always spring cleanup when it's windy. That's kind of what we've done on the solid waste side, is just keep things picked up. It didn't look like we saw a really big increase due to the flooding. We were over, I want to say about 30 tons over what we were last year, but we're still under what our 5-year average looks like for the month of March, so that was good. We didn't see a big influx there. The rest of the trash room is plugging along. On the recycle side of things, we set our cardboard baler in its place last week, waiting on Northwestern Energy to do their part to connect it electrically. We should have our compactor box for plastic down here this week. We'll have to get that connected electrically, but then we will be able to handle our plastics and cardboard more efficiently, and hopefully clean up that area with those big white super sacks and that kind of thing. So we probably got one more trip with hauling cardboard loose before we start baling, so we'll get that done this week. And other than that, we've just been hauling trash, keeping it moving.
It's gonna pick up now with the weather.
We've seen a lot of spring cleanup stuff in the canisters already.
Really?
So the folks are getting after it, but yeah, well, it's just gonna get steadier. We've seen a lot more interest in people wanting canisters to do projects when the construction season has started, so we're trying to keep them accommodated and just staying busy.
What does it cost to rent a canister?
We don't really do a rental. What we charge is a fee for delivery. It varies where you live in the county. And then we charge $50 a ton for disposal of whatever you put in that canister. So it's still a pretty reasonable rate compared to getting one out of city, county, and Helen. But like for people doing roof jobs and that kind of thing, it works out well.
Good.
The picking up of the stray garbage that's been blown around. Thank you.
It's a continuous process.
Always, yes, but good job there.
That's-
People appreciate it.
That's part of the reason why we brought a third person on, is we can keep a little better tabs on that, stay ahead of it, or not as far behind. So That's about all I have. You have any questions for me?
That plastic compactor, is that, from, Four Corners?
No, that'll be from City County Sanitation. They have it's called the self-contained unit where we'll just hook onto it with our truck, disconnect a couple of hydraulic hoses, and we can haul it anywhere we need to go with it, so. Four Corners had some, but they did not have the power units to go with it. But we'll see how it works. I asked them if we could rent it for a while, see if it's gonna work for us before we purchase it. They said they could work something out with this, so. They had one all set, ready to go, and then the city of Helena called them up and said they wanted 2 of them. So we kind of got put on the back burner. But the big fish get taken care of first, I guess, so.
Sure.
But we should have ours this week, they said,
Excellent.
and that should help a lot.
Good move.
What did they say for cost or rent?
They really haven't given me a rental price yet. When I first started talking to them, they threw out the number of like $10,000 to buy one. But I don't really know what that final number is gonna be either.
What's the life expectancy of those?
For doing what we wanna do, we'll never wear it out.
No, forever and a day.
We might have to do some work on the hydraulic cylinder from time to time,
Mhm.
but no, you can rebuild them if they need, if they have holes, you can patch them. It's long term. These are used units that we get, so, you know, they come from restaurants or whatever, so, there's still a lot of life in them.
Good.
I have a question about your budget. I know you
I
probably didn't
hopefully
bring
can
it.
answer it.
I guess it's not a question, it's more of a statement. I know you've seen this. I know you didn't bring it because I didn't mention anything. But, you're sitting at about 51%, remaining in your budget. We're 3/4 of the way through the year. I just wanna say kudos. I think
That
you're
will
doing-
drop fairly significantly with the repair bills that I've had in the last month,
Imagine.
but,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Mhm. I still don't expect that that's gonna be a huge,
We still should be in the positive side of things before the end of the year, so.
yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
Carryover should look pretty good.
Good job.
As you guys know, like 2 years ago, we met with the solid waste board prior to your coming on, Brian. And one of the things that was discussed by the board was increasing fees. They hadn't been increased at that point, I think, in a dozen years. And, that's not even being bandied about anymore. And the fact that your budget is, 51% positive right now is, I think, a testament to your management skills, so thank you for a job well
We
done.
put a lot of effort into getting, the bills that we have for people paid. That helps a lot. When you can increase the revenue side, it offsets the expense side, so. And we've been fortunate with metal prices have been up, so we've got good return on that. So it's just,
What do we have for outstanding bills?
currently, it's not too bad. We have maybe 5 accounts that aren't paid up, and they're small, relatively small. They're not over $1,000, so.
Good.
The 5 of them total might be a little over $1,000, but, we've got some in collections that are paying. One's a significant one, it's over $2,000 that is in collections that they send a check every month for a few dollars, so it's whittling away. But that's part of doing business.
Yeah, it happens. And you've addressed it, which I think is the issue.
Most of the revenue that we get, it goes out, most of our bills are under $500 and they're paid within 30 days. So most people are really good about it. You kind of have an idea who's not going to be when you send the bill out. So we deal with those as we have to.
Well, anything else for Brian?
Yeah.
All right. I hate to do this, but we have to. The company, Merchants Capital Resources, want us to have a resolution, leases authorization resolution for the skid steer. We've already voted on this. We voted to sign the contract, and so now we have a resolution. We will have a public hearing and a vote immediately after. So with that, you know what, I'll read this. I'll read most of it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing before we start the public comment, just because I think one of our brilliant commissioners has suggested that these should be read to the public. So this is the leases authorization resolution. Whereas Broadwater County, a public, politic, and corporate duly organized and existing as a political subdivision, is authorized by the laws of the state to purchase, acquire, and lease personal property for the benefit of the governmental entity and its inhabitants, and to enter into contracts with respect thereto, and whereas in order to acquire such equipment, a lease purchase transaction pursuant to that certain governmental equipment lease purchase agreement, the Merchants Capital Resources, Inc., the form of which has been presented by the governing body of the governing governmental entity at this meeting. Section 1 shall approve all of the documents. Section 2, other actions authorized as necessary. Section 3, no general liability other than what we hold for the county on the equipment. Section 4, authorized signatories, which is at the bottom, and then the effective date. This has been for review in both the clerk and recorders and the commissioner's office for the past week. So with that, we will close the general meeting and open a public hearing to hear public comment on the resolution to sign lease purchase agreement with Merchants Capital Resources for the skid steer for solid waste. Is there any public comment? John?
John Wright, what was the final amount for the purchase of this machine?
I don't know that I have that. Do you remember it off the top of your head, Brian?
The machine and the attachments that we got was in the neighborhood of $54,000. I think it was a little less than that, but the machine itself was less than $39,000, I think.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Laura, do you have a quote for that amount?
Not with me, no. We've already discussed it and voted on it and shared that, but I just don't have it with me today. But we can certainly give that to you, that number, after the meeting if you like. 54 sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what the figure was, 54.
Okay. And this is more or less a formality.
Yeah, this is the original quote. Yeah, the skid steer is $39,000. Angle broom was $7,700, $7,200. Pallet forks are $950. Grapple bucket was $3,800. And we put brawler tires that are run flat, solid tires on it, and those were $3,800. So it brought it up to $54,750 by this amount approximately. I think it actually came in a little less than that. And the lease payment in on that is, I think it's just a skosh under $13,000 for 4 years.
Okay.
And at the end of that, we will.
Any other questions, comments? Public comment? Paul?
What's the term of the lease option?
4 years, we believe.
4 years?
Yeah.
I can't read it.
What's this?
Well, it's a 3-year full payout muni lease.
3 years.
with no balloon payment. So it's $13,000 for 3 years, and it's ours. It's 3.5% interest.
Any other public comment? Public comment? All right. We will close this public comment and reopen our regularly scheduled program. Next on the agenda is a decision and vote on the resolution to lease the lease purchase agreement with Merchants Capital Resources.
I'll make a motion that we sign the contract.
Do we have a second? Okay, I will second the motion. It's been moved and seconded that we sign the lease authorization resolution for the skid steer for the solid waste department. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm opposed. Same as before.
You were for it the first time you voted for it, though. The first time I brought it here, you said yes.
That was to get the application.
No, that was to proceed with our operations plan, and I talked about it at that time. So what happened in the meantime?
I understand.
I've never had a conversation with you about it,
No. I know that.
ever. And I just find that not being open and honest. So-
Thank you.
We now have the most approved piece of equipment in our organization.
No kidding. Hey, Brian, before you go, I just wanted to mention one other little piece of information. I ran into Brent this morning at the the Cedar site,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about the garbage he's been picking up with the public community service.
worker.
Yeah. Even with having increased your staff by one, your salary line items are all sitting at about 40% left. I want to also say, wow, and commend you again on the management of your department.
Thanks.
So, nice going. Anything else for Brian?
Back
All
to
right.
moving trash.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, we're a little bit ahead of things, which is not a surprise. A couple more pieces of mail. This was an issue that came up last week, and I just wanted to bring it up for discussion and full transparency. This is the mail from the Department of Transportation, and this is regarding the STIP. I was going to bring this up, but I didn't. It's about a 1/2-inch thick document, and it's printed on oversized paper, and what it does is it has maps, and it details the different road construction projects for each county. Each county gets their own for the next 5 years. We get a copy of this to share and to keep in the commission office at the regional meetings, which we'll be having in May. The week before, we'd received the SEDS document from AMBAC, and a request was made by Tim that we get an additional copy and keep that in the clerk and recorder's office for the public to view. And then the same request was made of the STIP document, that we get an additional copy and put it in the clerk and recorder's office for the public to view. And a couple of issues with that I just want to bring to the attention of the board. We can certainly request duplicates of all the documents, all the booklets that we get. And we can certainly provide a library in the clerk and recorder's office for that. However, we have a commission office that is staffed. Anybody can call any one of us at any time and make an appointment to come and view any documents, any booklets, any reports that are down there. So the question comes to mind, isn't it adding to government waste that we all hear about every day on the TV, on the news, at the Coffee Clutch, and at any restaurant you go into, to have duplicates made of every report and booklet that's out there, so that we can create a new library in the courthouse in the clerk and recorder's office so that people can go there instead of the commissioner's office to see different documents and reports. And then isn't it also a waste of money to now have to increase the size of the clerk and recorder's office to house this new library? I would like to propose that documents that come to the commission, we don't request duplicates, but that we open the door, which is already an open door policy for anybody to come in and read those documents and reports, as they have been stored in the commission office now for many decades.
That
So
makes sense and saves a few trees.
that's exactly my thinking. So, actually, we do have a comment, this is,
I don't wanna
this is
argue
not
about it, I just
necessarily
like
a
to make a
matter of
statement.
significant public interest, but I will take comment on it if anyone would like.
It's
to
real
offer
short,
comments.
Madam Chair. Tim
Tim?
Ravendal. The reason I made that request is because historically, in the many years that I've been coming to commission meetings and coming into the county, that option of having an open commission staff has never been there, has never been there. Elaine Mann, when she was here, had a little corner in the courthouse, and she was here some of the time, but again, the office has never been open historically, therefore, that was why I made the request. But if that office is now going to be staffed and open, I agree, there's no reason for duplication, but as everybody knows, busy lives, sometimes everybody's there, because we don't have full-time commissioners, so that staffing issue may have changed, but that's why the request was made.
And I will remind you, Tim, that prior to this last year, we did have a full-time secretary, administrative assistant, and that's where the library of all that equipment was stored. So it was still staffed, and has been for many years. And also was open door. So it really has not changed other than the personnel. Ellen,
I
and
guess,
just state your name for the record.
Thank you.
Alan Wright, I guess because I'm not sure exactly what your document looks like, but there is, and has been for quite a while, over in the library, a copy of that. Because I have found out that your hours may not be corresponding with my hours. And so the library, there is that, a copy of it. Like I say, I'm not sure exactly, but it's similar to what you're saying. And so, it's just that you don't get no explanation from the library. And so I do believe that it is very, at this point, with especially the way our community is, we're not, what you might wanna call the most, electronic community in the country, that a lot of people do depend on killing a few trees and reading. We still read books. And so I think that a copy of it is important.
And we do have a copy. And you're right, they do send it to other places other than the commission. My comments today are, do we need to request additional ones? Do we need to request additional ones to create a new library, again, in the same courthouse that we already have
So how
one?
many copies do we actually have?
We have one in the courthouse, and anybody can look at it at any time.
Okay, because, to be honest with you, I never looked at the one for several years over there. Didn't even know you guys,
Did you even know one existed, is the other question.
didn't even know you guys had a copy.
Right,
I knew it existed over there. That's what I used.
sure, you can use either one. John?
John Wright, who was the secretary you're referring to that did handle this prior to or presently?
Our administrative assistant was Natalie Wenzel,
Oh,
and she had a full library of all this stuff. Anybody could look at any time.
well, I knew that because I used it all the time. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Any other questions on this? All right. We have a few more minutes. We have the approved claims from last week for 8/2014 in the amount of $21,060.10.
I'll make a motion that we approve claims with 8th of April deadline, 210610.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims of $21,060.10. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. here are just some claims to put in the claims file that need commission signatures. Thank you. And in keeping with finances, we have payroll for pay date 4/15/2014 in the amount of $148,026.30.
I'll make a motion to pay payroll.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to pay payroll in the amount of $148,026.30. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Why did it go up so?
More hours in this payroll.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Ann. All right, next we have a matter of continuing business. This is an agreement to sell personal property, and it is the Goose Bay Marina docks being sold to Broadwater County. And this was the trust board that has, through a grant process with JSJ Inc., provided the $61,000 to go ahead and purchase those docks. So it's just an agreement to follow through with this. And it's just a sale outright, again, through the trust board. So it's not costing taxpayers anything, and this will increase the docks out at Broadwater Bay. There will also be one slip of docks that will be free to the public. That was a deal that the trust board posed to Sharon Walker, who agreed to it. So there will be free docks for boats at Broadwater Bay this summer.
Do you know when they're gonna move those?
No, there's not enough water in the lake right now. They're holding back because of runoff, is my guess.
Oh.
So as soon as there's enough water, chance that everybody's ready to go. So. And that was drafted for us by a finance officer at MBAC, free of charge to the county.
You want a motion on this?
I think so. It's already been voted on, but I just
Yeah,
would
it's all
feel
been
more
voted on
comfortable.
before.
I would feel more comfortable with the motion.
I'll make a motion to sign the agreement to sell personal property, meaning the boat docks from Goose Bay Marina, bringing them over to this side of the lake, the Broadwater Bay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the purchase agreement for the Goose Bay docks to be used at Broadwater Bay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I don't know about this, it says seller agrees to deliver the property to the buyer. Jerry isn't delivering it, those docks.
No, he isn't. I didn't notice that part. What we can do is sign that and then just maybe amend it here in the meeting and initial it.
Because
Madam President,
Yes.
if I may, that they're going to be moved by volunteers, and she has them all lined up.
Well, yeah, that's what they said before,
Yeah.
but here it says that it's up to Jerry to deliver it.
Yep, we can go ahead and, you know what, I'll have Mark just change that if you like, and then sign it after the meeting, since we do have it as a vote at this point.
please do.
Okay.
I guess that's the, all he needs is a bill of sale, really. The buyers, really, so this is the same as a bill of sale, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
hearing coming up at 11. Before that, we are, we're done with mail. I have nothing else. Do you guys want to go ahead and move up the commissioner's community update, since we have a whole?
I'm fine. Franklin?
Mhm.
And the agenda does say these issues and times are subject to change. So Franklin, what'd you do this week?
Yeah, I should have had it written down, I shouldn't forget. Went to the Elkhorn Restoration and Conservation meeting.
Anything to report as far as goings on at either of those meetings?
The Elkhorn, they're gonna have a big, I can just call it a brush cutter, the cut June and all that, they're gonna have a, Mark is gonna bring one over. We don't know when, yet they're gonna come to the date up here in the Elkhorn, and he's gonna give a demonstration on it. So that'd be pretty interesting. Like I say, just say, you don't need a brush cutter, but it's a pretty good size one apparently. And then, on the conservation, they were, seemed well satisfied, they just talked about their Deep Creek projects and, with this new committee set up and everything, you seem to think that was a good idea, so that's basically it.
I attended the safety board meeting last week on Thursday, and there was about 8 to 10 people there, and we worked on the handbook for the safety. And some good comments.
It was a good meeting.
It was
We
a
got a
good
lot
meeting.
done. I also attended that safety meeting. I also tried to attend the senior center meeting, the airport board meetings, but both were canceled last minute, so we just had a nice chat at the airport board meeting. Mike Malay and I were the only ones that showed. And then Brian Terrell was there. He and his wife both walking the dog, so that was a nice evening. That's it for me. One question I have is, I understand there was a highway department meeting last week, Franklin, on the Toston Bridge. Do you know anything about a
No.
Toston Bridge meeting?
There was no meeting that I know of.
Okay, all right.
We had, Tossin Irrigation had a meeting, well, it wasn't even a meeting. The statesmen come around buying the right-of-ways and stuff on the personal property with all us irrigators there, and we've talked to them on that, but there's nothing as far as the bridge that I ever heard of.
Okay.
But this has been ongoing since last fall, this year, right-of-way acquisition.
Do they give any time frame?
Well, the last, Tracy gave me was, let's go up, let's see, they gotta have all this done by the end of March. They extended 30 days, or I mean, the end of April. It wasn't 30th of March. Then they do this certain amount of review and the process, and it goes up for bid. They're supposedly gonna open the bids, I believe it's the 9th of July, somewhere right after the 4th.
So what plan are they going with?
Well, it's basically like it always has been, other than they're moving the Tossin Irrigation, the one canal that we have buried, our pipeline, they're moving that over from Lone Mountain Road down through Muddy Lane. And otherwise, I think everything's pretty much the same. They might have cut part of it down from the 5-lane to just the 4-lane, but I don't know on that part.
So,
Can't do too much. I don't know what they'll actually do once the bids are let. They can do, I suppose, on some culverts, a few things like that, like they did over here on the Masters. But we have water in there until the 15th of April, 15th of October. It starts 15th of April, goes through. And so, once the water's off, then they're supposedly gonna come and start moving the pipeline and doing the fencing.
well, do you know what number this plan was? Because there was one that went clear up and around Toston.
You're talking about the Tossin Bridge.
Right.
That's a different one.
Oh,
This
okay.
project is the one out there, ties in from just south of Tostin, and it goes out to the 4-lane out there. That's
I
there now.
misunderstood. I thought
Yeah.
we're not talking apples and apples, we're talking apples and oranges.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard any more on this. They're still there surveying and doing stuff on the bridge part, but there hasn't been any, I haven't heard anything on that for quite a while.
No, that makes sense, because I thought, gee,
Madam Chair, if I may interject.
Yes, please.
I believe there is not even funding yet for the actual bridge project. It is still several years down the road.
thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay. So we're still 12 minutes early for the next public hearing.
I do have one comment.
Sure.
It looks like our county attorney has filed charges on care of the horses, and against the husband and the wife. And picture on the paper, that horse looked terrible,
Yeah,
ghastly.
I went out to see him this week and it's heartbreaking. Very tough. Since we still have 10 minutes, 11 minutes before our next appointment, if it's okay with the board, the adjusting journal entry approval for 2013, January and February 2014, and discussion, do you mind if we move that up? All right. Did you guys get a chance to look at those downstairs? We brought them up a couple weeks ago. They've been on the big table. Anything to bring up, any discussion, any areas of concern, any questions?
No concern.
I don't believe so.
All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve those journal entries, adjusting journal entries.
Also move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the adjusting journal entries for 2013 remaining, and that is June through the end of the year, January and February 2014. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And next month I will bring all the March journal entries, and I think we should do this on a monthly basis.
It's easier to keep up with it.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Did everybody notice the courtroom all painted nice, fresh and clean?
I kinda like that blue trim they had around it.
Did ya?
It's removable too, huh?
Evidently.
Juanita decorates your house, right?
How would you ever guess?
Our maintenance crew has been working very hard.
Yes, yeah. I guess this is off the topic, but Kyle would like to give us an update on the hospital and invited us to lunch there next week. Is that okay with you guys?
I'm fine with that.
All right, I'll put that on the agenda.
Do you know how things are going over there?
I think they're going pretty well. You know, nothing is perfect ever, but I do think they're going pretty well. Do we have, Paul and Bill?
What was the
do you
question?
guys- How's the hospital doing? You guys have any solid information you are privy to?
Paul Bray, the last information I had was that the month of January, the hospital turned a slight profit for the first time in God knows how long. It was an honest profit, nothing, it wasn't any grants or anything, it was just, the hospital was in the black. And then in March, we had the X-ray machine, the mammogram machine come down, and they had 27, I think, people signed up for that, which is a goodly number. I think they need something like 20 to make it economical to have that here, and they're going to have it once a month. Kyle is doing a magnificent job at the hospital. He's the kind of administrator, it's unfortunate that we didn't have for the last 5 or 10 years. He's an amazing man and really has done wonders. We have health service here that we haven't had before for eons, if ever, and we will have more when we get the new imaging machine in. Services are being provided that people have had to go out of town for in the past. And the convenience of having them here in town, as well as the economic benefit to the town and to the hospital, are just immense. It means more employees, it means more people in town earning good wages. I think probably the hospital is the largest employer in the county anymore. It used to be the school district, but the school district is going down and the hospital is going up. So I think it's the hospital now. But yeah, everything I've ever heard about it is very encouraging. And the inspection that they recently had, there were 2 minor deficiencies that were noted. And I don't know how big an effect that's going to have on whether or not they get the nursing home license permanently again. It was supposed to be no deficiencies. Certainly, there were no major deficiencies. One of the deficiencies was they recommended that a nurse changing someone's diaper wear 2 pairs of gloves rather than 1. It was nitpicky stuff like that. And there was some other very small issue in the kitchen, and I don't remember what it was. But those, as far as I know, were the only 2 deficiencies that were noted. Kyle, I'm sure, will have more to tell you next week. He hasn't, at last time I talked to him, he hadn't heard anything yet about what the net income of the inspection is.
Thank you, Paul.
Sure, you're welcome.
Do you know off the top of your head what the insurance hit is with the new imaging? Have you
No, I
heard
don't
those
have any
numbers?
idea. I haven't talked to them about that.
And I'm actually hoping that somebody can verify my numbers, but and we'll get this next week, but I'm close. For a person who is a Broadwater County citizen who needs to get a CT scan, to travel by ambulance to Helena to get that right now is about $15,000.
Right, and if you go on your own transportation, it's between 6 and 9.
And if you do it here, what did he quote, 1,100?
Yeah,
Yeah.
16 to 1800.
Oh, 16 to 18.
Right.
All right, so, it's a definite difference.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Besides the convenience of just having it here and not having to go to Elton to have it done.
and especially when you're in pain.
Sure. And the assistance to the doctors in making the diagnosis. If they have a 16-slice CAT scan rather than just a flat X-ray.
Yeah,
To go by. An interesting sidelight to that, the 16-slice CAT scan is the most efficient and the least radiation to the patient of any of the CAT scans. Quite by accident, we picked up the CAT scan that is the most desirable to have. And once again, that's Kyle's contacts that have gotten us that. I don't know how on earth the man does it, but he has a net that spreads out everywhere in the nation, I think.
and weren't we one of just 3 hospitals in the state not to have a CT scan?
I believe so, yeah.
Broadus and Plains, were those
Yeah.
the 2?
I don't remember, Broadus was one, Broadus, the Ecolak area, and I don't remember where the other one was.
No.
And when do they foresee that the CAT scan will be here?
I think he's saying, 2 months ago, I believe he said about 6 months. So another 4 months. August. And we're in the process of getting ready for it now. You'll notice that they've knocked one of the trees down. They're going to move the sidewalk and they'll cut a hole hole through the wall to give access to it. So we'll lose one exam room or one hospital room downstairs, but we'll gain all that other medical imaging availability that just will be tremendous to the community.
And how often will the mammogram machine be here?
Once a month. It'll be here, at this time, it's booked 1 day a month, every month.
Laura, I got a question. How many employees is in the hospital now, total employees?
I don't know, do you know?
I don't have any idea, they keep adding them. Bill, do you?
I thought at a Rotary meeting the other night, I thought he told us 90. 90.
And the other question I had is, what is the payment for the director of the hospital? His wages?
That I don't know either.
Because there was a dispute about him getting a raise or something, other than I never did hear the final words. Does anybody know that?
No, it's not something that's with the county payroll, so it's not something that we would have here. We can
Laura,
certainly go over and ask.
I don't believe he got a raise. He is, the value we have there is beyond belief. When he came here, he was making over $300,000 a year, and we got him for a fraction of that.
Is there any way you can get that information?
No, but you can. I believe it's public information. You can just go over to the hospital office and ask them. All right, we are 1 minute to 11. We do have Mike here. How about we go ahead and close this meeting and open a public hearing for the creation of a Deep Creek Mitigation Project Local Advisory Committee, TAC.
You guys need a copy of my proposal? You've probably gotten it before. I shuffle more paper than anybody else.
This is everything that we went through before.
Yes, exactly.
Before we start, again, just in keeping with past practices, I'll quickly read this to you. This is Broadwater Board of County Commissioners resolution to establish a technical advisory committee for the DES FEMA Deep Creek Mitigation Project. We took this mostly from Mike's information. Whereas following the 2011 flood event, the President declared 48 Montana counties and 6 tribal nations a disaster area, and whereas because of flooding on Deep Creek and other areas, Broadwater County became eligible for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which is intended to provide funding to conduct mitigation projects, and whereas Broadwater County submitted an HMGP grant application was approved for Phase 1 engineering study, and upon completion will be eligible to apply for Phase 2 project implementation. And whereas the complexities of the project, inquiries regarding the scope of work, its relationship to other projects on the Deep Creek watershed, and the matching funds required, and whereas enhanced cooperation, collaboration, and stakeholder involvement is sought, now therefore be it resolved. The Technical Advisory Committee will be formed to assist with overall project analysis and make recommendations to Board of County Commissioners, Engineer, and DES, and now therefore be it resolved. Technical Advisory Committee will provide recommendations regarding the scope of Phase 2, help identify project priorities, and propose alternative funding methods for the non-federal match, and now therefore be resolved. The DES FEMA Deep Creek Flood Mitigation Project Technical Advisory Committee will consist of the following 5 individuals: Dana Rouser, Supervisor, Broadwater County Road and Bridge; Justin Meisner, District Conservationist, USDA NRCS; Ron Spoon, Fish Biologist, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks Department; Jim Beck, Water Resource Consultant, retired DNRC Water Resources; Wayne Halverson, member of Deep Creek Landowners Advisory Group, with the support staff for the Technical Advisory Committee to consist of Mike Conkey, Interim Coordinator for Broadwater County DES; Denise Thompson, Administrator, Broadwater Conservation District; Sean Higley, Project Engineer, WWC Engineer; Bob Fry, District 3 Representative, Montana DES.
I apologize, I just handed out the wrong resolution to everybody.
Oh, that's all right.
gonna say, you got a different copy than that.
Yeah, we can use,
No, you go ahead, yours is fine.
It will work?
Sure, I
All
just,
right.
got one.
Is that the one from last week?
This is the one from last week, and that one's been probably better. I mean, this is my proposal to the commission, and then the commission can rewrite it, do what they want. I mean, that's the resolution.
Yeah, I just took your language and,
That's fine, you did
Okay.
fine.
all right.
I was trying to catch up
I
to where
was
you
too.
were. And
Then you turned the page, and I thought,
Hey, what's
Well,
going
this-
on?
This has already all been done, they've already formed their committee and had their first meeting and everything.
well, technically we did, but.
Yes, but remember last week, we voted in concept? And what that meant is, we were giving our blessing in concept, but not officially. We need to have the resolution, which needs to be run in the paper, and then has to have a public hearing. So we had to go through the steps, but in voting for it in concept, we were able to go ahead and get
I
it
guess
done.
we just went ahead and put the cart before the horse, but it's all basically in the, like I say, the conservation district, they're already in favor of this and everything.
Mhm.
So it's already been taken care of.
We met last Monday afternoon for about an hour and a half. It went well, we kind of discussed different projects. We had some input from Fish and Game, we had some input from Elaine Halverson, wanted to kind of get some parameters. We got to get our minutes written up, presented to the commissioners. And I think Tim was there, and it went pretty well. We're just trying to focus on what we're doing, and we want to complement what the Soil Conservation District's doing with their Deep Creek restoration grant, they from DEQ, I guess it's EPA, actually was went through. I think it'll work good, and we'll just work in progress. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, I think this was well done. Tim?
Yeah, and as Mike related, I did attend that meeting, and I give kudos to those guys to take the time to make this next step. One of the things that I want to bring forward that is really important is the group in their initial meeting agreed that with Denise, with the Conservation District and everybody at the table, to make sure that an extra effort is made to communicate the coordination levels so that there isn't any questions on what is actually going on with the mitigation project in Deep Creek. The facts get related to the people. It was suggested that we get a report out periodically to keep the citizens updated on what's actually really going on, so that no more of this he said, she said, they said continues, because that's part of our problem of moving forward in a positive manner.
Yeah, that's one of the things we identified, was that both grants, the Soil Conservation District grant for Deep Creek restoration, watershed restoration, and our flood mitigation grant, our FEMA grant, we need to communicate better to the public about the purpose of both those grants and what we were doing, and how they complement each other and not necessarily duplicate. I don't see duplication in them at all.
did the helicopter fly it and take pictures?
Yes, it did. Helicopter flew it, excuse me. Flight it, flew it, and I didn't get a ride, and I didn't want to ride. I like my feet on there. I'm a little high to go outside the courthouse. Bloody nose. No, they did well. It'll take about 2 months to take that electronic data and put it into a form that can be used in mass and stuff. What they're trying to do is they're gonna have to do some survey, land survey, do cross sections of the creek at different places, primarily where the bridges are, and then they take that information, the stuff on the land, and relate it to the aerial photos. They can actually tell the depth of the land and the creek and everything on that. We're looking at some old soil conservation photographs out of the 30s and 50s and then the 70s, and now recent ones of how the creek has changed, how it kind of migrated through the valley and stuff, the watershed there, and that'll be kind of interesting.
And
They can
very
lay the two in.
valuable.
They can lay those layers on top of each other. They're gonna do that electronically, somehow they put it in a scanner and the computer does all that stuff. You can actually see where it's moved. The other thing we've identified is the dike behind, behind the bar there, the old bar that went around there, to Terry Frost. Trying to identify if that really has been built by the Bureau of Reclamation, when it was built. If Bureau of the Corps of Engineers, excuse me, Corps of Engineers. And if it has been built, then probably the county the local government entity has a responsibility to maintain that. If it was not built by the corner, built by private citizens, we still need to kind of address that before we lose that. That's where a lot of the washed gravel sand is coming from, that upper reaches as well as elsewhere, where it meanders around, washes every time it takes a cut, drops some sediment, soil down in there, and moves it on downstream. So it's a good project. Long term, I think it'll be about 3 years. Any other questions?
Trudy Southwick. Have you been able to get the work or get copies of all the work that has previously been done prior to you coming on as the interim DES for the Deep Creek project?
We have. I think we've handed that out. I can get you copies of that. That was stuff from the original grant application. And then when Sean was in here, and myself with Ken Atwood, I forgot who was with him, remember? She is a specialist in grant medication. He handed out some stuff, but I've got copies and I'll get that to you. I think I've got it in my folder. I can get that to you.
And that has proved to be beneficial? It
Well,
was
sure.
work that was
Right.
kind of just out there because
Originally,
it's
when
such
you-
a big project.
Right, when you do a grant, just like this spring flood, this March road fund, we submitted on a daily basis, we do situational reports to Montana DEM. We tell them what roads are being washed out and which roads are closed and estimate the damage. Dana estimated the damage to be about $45,000. After FEMA came here a couple of weeks ago, they ended up with $68,000. So they're just kind of guesstimates. And we've identified some roads, and then even recently, there's some county roads up in, I think, clear on Lone Mountain Road, way up there almost to the divide where Broadwater and Jefferson County, we found located that there was a culvert nearly washed out. Cat came in from a rancher that has land out there, Rum Road. So we're learning more all the time. It's a big county, and people don't tell us. And if Dana's not there, we don't know. But we're learning, we take photographs of it. We're pending right now for the governor to request a FEMA declaration for the current flood.
Thank you.
And I expect more flooding. Go ahead.
Did you get a chance to get up on Indian Creek and?
No, John, I have not yet gone up there.
Dana has graded the road, he got the big boulders out of the road.
Cool.
But the overhang into the slopes, and the other problem, if you look at it very closely, the road itself is growing into the road from the brush, from the trees, and there's a large number of dead cottonwoods along the road, primarily from lack of water.
Okay, I'll try to run up there today.
And they were talking about some kind of bushwhacker that's gonna come here to the county. The Forest Service was gonna do this at one time, clean up the edges, and they never got to it.
Watch out,
Okay. I will. Is that's a mechanical machine?
Yeah, it's a bushwhacker.
Oh, I thought there was a western, a bushwhacker in there. Those are like,
You know, it
Cowboy
actually goes
days,
to
that
the
was a
side
kid.
instead of on the ground.
okay, John, I'll get up there.
I'd appreciate it.
You'll get.
All right, any other public comment on the Deep Creek Mitigation Project, Local Advisory Committee? Alan?
Alan Wright, has your group or groups, has there been any input from Montana Tech over in Butte?
Not that I know of. No, but they're a very good resource. Excellent.
I know that we've worked with them in the past in different other areas and kind of what you're, they deal with a lot of.
It's a great resource. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll try to contact them. You don't know anybody I can talk to in that.
Well, the individual that used to do a lot over there with was Rob McCullough.
McCullough?
I think he retired,
Okay.
and I don't know the.
I'll get on the internet and see if I can find somebody in hydraulic and stream flows and stuff like that.
Because they've done a lot of research on the reclamation, rechannelizing of creeks,
Mm-hmm.
and the Corps' attitude of keep it all in a channel, to where they have kind of an attitude that no matter what you do in a channel,
Yeah, they
a
kind of,
stream, there's
Yeah.
flood, and it just, gravity has its
of course, yeah.
way of.
I think the purpose of a stream meandering is to slow down the velocity. And that's just nature's way of keeping the Grand Canyon from cutting into everywhere. But I don't that, I don't know that much about science, I know a little bit about soils and farming, but I know about rivers and creeks, I'm learning them.
But yeah, but they are a good outlet for information. Back there.
They are great out there. We used that when we were gonna put in some underground wells for irrigation purposes. They showed us all the oil wells drilled in Broadwater County, and they showed how far deep you have to go to get that much water to pump to irrigate. So we didn't buy those pieces of property. I'm regressing.
Any other comments? Comments? All right. Excuse me, we will close this public hearing. And next, we have the decision and votes on the resolution to form the Deep Creek TAP. I know this may sound and seem repetitive or almost like a waste of time, but in order to give this advisory committee the authority to work in the way that they are intended to, we do have to follow the legal steps, and one of those legal steps is to have a resolution. So that's why we're doing this today. In order to get the committee off the ground and working, which it started last week, we approved it in concept. So in that way, we were able to expedite, but this way, now, today, we're just covering the basis, the legal basis. So with that,
So moved.
I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution to establish a technical advisory committee for the DES FEMA Deep Creek Mitigation Project. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, Mike, you are official.
Good, we'll have a meeting.
Yeah.
Incidentally, we're gonna meet every Monday, the day before the Soil Conservation District meets. And I went to the Soil Conservation District meeting last Tuesday and gave them a progress report. It works. I think we're making progress, keeping everybody informed. I will, if I may have permission, take that downstairs and make copies. And I'll keep one and then bring some for, bring them the correct resolution. And I apologize for bringing the wrong one in.
No, you didn't. No, you did good. Mike, thank you very much.
Well,
for
thank
all
you
your
very
help.
much,
Thanks,
Commissioner.
Max.
Appreciate it. I'll bring this right back to you.
Okay.
That I'll bring it right back. You better have it.
All right, 11:15. We're still about 15 minutes early. I don't know if any staff will want to come and listen to the third quarter budget review, so I'm hesitant to move that up. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll just sit here and do claims? Does that work? Do you guys want to recess the meeting for 15 minutes? 11:30?
That'd be fun.
All right, we will go ahead and recess for 15 minutes. We'll be back for 11:30.